Okay.
Have we met before?
I think maybe.
You look kind of familiar.
I've been here a while.
Okay. All right, I met you last time I was
I think
here.
so, yeah.
All right, that was a while ago, a couple years ago,
Yep.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got contacted by your agent,
Yep.
Mike,
Yep.
regarding, I guess, what initially happened is there was a request for some service that we might be able to provide, some training. He spoke to one of our loss control guys, who actually is my supervisor, and so Randy went and looked at the records and found I'm the assigned loss control person. So he suggested I get in touch with you folks as the main contact.
I am listening to you.
Yeah. No, you go right ahead.
Our fire chief wanted to be here, so I'm just going to text him
Yeah.
real quick. So we
Okay.
can start a couple minutes early.
All right. Well, I'm going through the introduction, so
Sure, yeah, exactly.
And so as we were going through, and I had a conversation with Mike Lonergan regarding the concerns about the claims was for 1 year, particularly maybe 2 were particularly high. Obviously, you know that has an impact on your experience mod rate and what you pay on the workers' comp side of it. So I'm here to provide service, see what we can do to kind of get things back on track and sort of improve things a little bit.
Yep.
Now, so what I'm sort of proposing is that we sort of approach this like we do a typical business. What I do, I know it's not a typical business, but there are certain strategies that work really well for reducing claims and losses. You're really a small operation, so that you have 1 or 2 claims, it just blows you right out of the water. And I was safety director for Prime Tanning for 17 years, and I had 800 employees at the time, and our workers' comp premium was like $2 million. I could absorb a lot of loss.
Right.
You don't have that luxury.
Right.
So what I'm proposing is that we bring our resources to the table, make contact with you know, the specific departments that you have, and sort of approach it like we would a business that might be having high losses and might want to turn things around a little bit and provide those services with that in mind. Ultimately, if we can reduce your claims or reduce the severity of the claims, then you know, then the experience mod rate falls, and then you pay less in premium and nobody's hurt. So that's kind of what I'm proposing. We have when I was going through the claims history, if you didn't have a fire department, you probably wouldn't have any losses, right? You know, it's the nature of the work.
Right.
So I was doing a little trend analysis. So I looked at the fire department. That's a very difficult thing to control because of the nature. You know, I worked for many years in my youth in emergency services. The rest of it, you know, is a scattering strike by against. I was surprised most people returned to work. The medical bills are there, and most people seem to move right along.
Yeah.
So what I'd like, some
of our gaps that we've addressed in the last year have been like time periods. You know, people may have gotten back to work, especially with volunteer departments like we had.
Right.
They may have been fine, but nobody ever alerted to the fact that, hey, I'm better. So the process
I could be back onto the.
Yeah.
I
so
did,
trying to get them back on the roster as quick as possible.
Exactly.
Reasonably,
So
you know.
I thought I would sort of just pass this out if I could to you folks.
Thank you.
It's
Thank you.
it's sort of a pamphlet that sort of outlines a lot of what we're talking about. There you go. And it talks specifically. I'll just go to the. I won't go through the whole thing.
Chief's coming in right now, actually. If we want to hold this for a second.
Yeah. Yeah.
He'll make number 8, so we'll be all right.
I love that you're counting.
I'm allowed 9.5.
Oh, you have a
people.
limit on the.
Do I grab a chair out of Jeanette's office?
Danny. Oh yeah. Good. You look good in uniform. Who is that?
Wow, long time no see, yes.
No
Wow.
Oh, you grew up?
I know.
Oh yeah, I remember him very, very well. Very, very well.
You must know Silvestri's.
Yes.
Yeah. Salvador's
Yeah,
Sonny.
Sonny
That's
and,
my uncle.
and his and I can't remember his brother's name.
Joe and
Jo-
Frank.
Frank retired
Both just
from
passed
there.
away. They just
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
passed last week.
Yeah, one Sonny and Pasting. I
Yep.
remember you running tumble mills.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
He's gone. No white I
Look how bald I am.
am. So anyway, so good to see you, Danny.
Wow, that's
I'm
funny.
gonna save your bacon again.
They should have told me you were gonna be here. That's been what? Over 30 years maybe?
No. It's like about 18. Anyways, so anyway, I'm pleased to see you again. So what I'm sort of proposing is that we sort of approach it that way, that we do things like we would do for the company, make sure people are trained. I know you do that. We have a lot of resources available. We can do I saw there's one claim for an officer with Sue. We can do officer ergonomic evaluations. We can do the ergonomics. We can do training to support the fire department. We can do defensive driver training. I know you have your own stuff. But I'm saying we have a lot of materials online. We've got training. You can download PowerPoint presentations. You can download toolbox talks. And then I'm, as the assigned safety consultant, I can do training. I can provide you support. Another element would be to do regular visits, on-site visits. Check with the fire department, check here, check with facilities. I don't know if you have like a barn or something where you've got, might be a workshop, for your maintenance staff, your facilities type folks. We take a look at that and give you folks feedback. If there's, obviously we use sort of the OSHA guidelines. I don't know how some places are exempt from citations on there, but they still will comply.
No, they're not.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, and it's funny they exempt colleges and universities.
Oh,
but
funny.
and so what I'm proposing is we do like the inspections, the safety training. We meet with the employees, and I just put you folks on a regular schedule.
Okay.
Where I meet with you folks. I obviously would work with Danny and at facilities, grounds, people. If you have issues over here, I'm on call. And what we would do is just provide that. So I think you kind of had a speed bump.
Yep.
Because it looked fairly good before.
Yep.
And then this year currently is pretty good. But you just kind of got to that point where that really tough years come on to
Yeah.
the EMR. And it's going to take 3 years for that to come off.
Yeah, I was going to ask, maybe a dumb question, but doing all these trainings obviously is benefit to education.
Yeah.
Is there any other perk that would hit us as far as helping to lower what the costs are if you could check
If
our
if
costs?
I do this, I do that.
I mean,
I do that.
I'm thinking on a personal level, it works that way to some
yeah.
degree. So
Good question. It's performance based. By that I mean,
figured I knew the answer, but I just
it's a good question. There used to be things in the past, like if you had good medical management or something, you had a good staff, they might give you a little bit of a break. But you don't see that anymore. It's all based on how you perform. So if I just sort of tell you that your performance affects my performance. If your performance rates improve, I'm judged quarterly, and
Bonus.
makes you look better.
yeah, and I'm allowed to work another
Sure.
year at Mimic.
Yeah, sure,
So,
sure.
so that's kind of what I'm proposing, is that I establish a regular schedule of visits, meet with the folks, get to know the folks, whoever the people that are involved, keep you folks in the loop, what I'm doing, what I find, and what suggestions I can make. And I'll also put together a revised action plan that incorporate this, quarterly visits, do some site visits. We could decide later, you could give me a point person, what I should look at. We can go do that, provide the feedback, meet the people, and then even further, as we do our assessments, we can sort of determine if there's any other resources we need to bring to the table. You guys pay a premium, and what I'd like to do is, sure, we'll take your premium, not provide any service, okay? But we'd like to provide the service because that's what we do. And I live locally. I used to live in Lebanon, so there's a soft spot, Gully Oven Road. So there's a soft spot in my heart for Lebanon. And I live in Sanford, that puts me right close here,
Yep.
so I'm readily available. Also, while I'm at it, I have the king prepared.
I'd give you a card to
But
draw the shot.
you know, and I just sort of pass this out so that I'm also available. You can call. Anybody can call.
No, thank you.
And that's an employee, you know, within however way you folks want to do that. And because I'm local, if you use the cell phone that goes right here, and I can respond. If I don't have an answer for you, if I don't have any, there are plenty of people on our staff that we can bring in.
Okay.
We've got folks that Hartley Webb is one of loss control. He's very heavily involved in fire service and that sort of thing. So even though I'm not in fire service, we can support it. So that's kind of what I'm proposing. And I think if we stay on it and we address things as they come up, I agree with you, make it a policy. I noticed that when I was looking at the claims, there's a bit of a delay when things are reported. And let's see, when we break it down.
Don't use any names.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Thank you.
So I'm just going by the cover sheet. That, well, at least 56% are reported within the 3 days, but about 30% are reported within 7 days. So there's a bit of a delay when there's reporting, but also on that medical management part of it, we've got to communicate to staff, to supervisors. If a person has an issue, you folks, it gets reported right away. And if a person is released back, it gets reported to the system right away.
Yeah. I think we've funneled everything through
Yeah.
now into the office. You know, it was, we had a rescue chief, you had a fire chief, you had all your department heads,
Yeah.
and it wasn't always coming back to the main office. Now everything's coming back to the main office, so that will help.
That's excellent, because that was my assessment back years ago when I first met. It was sort of, I wasn't exactly sure which direction I was supposed to go, and at that point it was like, Sue was going to be my contact. But I kind of like to set it up on a regular basis. If I coordinate through Sue, that's fine. Just on a regular basis, on a quarterly basis, I have it on my schedule that I'm going to be here, and I go in whatever direction needs to be done. And I find that if I'm on the schedule, it gets done. If I'm not on the schedule, well, somebody fell off a roof somewhere, and I tend to go there, and I might not go this way.
Yep.
But if it's in my schedule, at least for a year, do it for this current policy year, see how it goes. If everything's copacetic, we can reduce it to maybe twice a year, or we can keep it up.
Yep.
Because, and I know Danny will attest this from his days at the tannery, people do what's inspected. If somebody's not looking at them and poking in the corners and asking the questions, they don't tend to do it. And by this, it brings the safety element into the forefront. And then we can decide by the next policy year, when I have some more experience with the folks, we can alter the action plan to accommodate
Absolutely.
that.
Yep.
So that's kind of what my thoughts were when I was thinking about how to go forward with this.
Yep.
So,
The chief now, he's the one chief over both departments, rescue and fire now. So he'll be
I think that's excellent, because that's where most of your claims are.
Absolutely. Yep.
The other stuff is, I was taking a rake out and someone struck me. There's a certain, there's a certain element of, well, like an underwriter once told me, if there were no accidents, we would have no jobs.
That's right.
So, but I think if we stay on it, I'd like to keep it at 0. You have no lost time, and just sort of set that as a goal.
Yep.
So if you have meetings with folks, you have department meetings, and you want me to participate, talk about the safety side, the organization's commitment to safety, and what we could do to support them, and just sort of really drive it down. That's where the rubber hits the road. That's been the most effective.
Yep. Yep.
And just to again say, this is what I, not to brag, but when I started with Prime Paying, our experience moderate was 2.4. And at the end, we had it down 0.83.
Yep.
I'm dealing with companies now. I have a restaurant. Who'd have thought a restaurant would have $500,000 in losses? They're probably going to get a safety reward in the next couple of years. This is what we do. This is what I do.
Good.
And would love to get started on this.
Good. Now I got one question for you. I'm losing my voice, obviously. I'm not opening it up to public participation, just so you know. But looking at a group of volunteers,
Yeah.
maybe that want to help start doing some cemetery type stuff,
Yeah.
clean up cemeteries. And this is one of my concerns, and I'm still waiting on answers back from Mike Lonergan,
Right.
attorneys, things like that.
Right, because the whole.
Where do volunteers fall? I mean,
Right.
you have your departments that used to be volunteer, are now municipal.
Right.
But I just am curious. It's a very gray area.
It is. Because
It's a
if
scary area.
It is because if for us too, because they'll work for you, and they get hurt. What recourse do they have is generally against the employer, and we have that issue. I'm not involved. I don't do a lot of healthcare. We have that issue with volunteers in hospitals. The agent's got to get you that answer.
Okay.
Between the underwriter,
Yep.
I do the prevention side. When you get to that,
I know with the research I've done, there's an additional rider that you can purchase.
correct.
And I don't know that we have it, so that's one of my
Right.
questions right now. So.
Because that's a big risk.
Yeah.
What could potentially happen, this has happened to some of my accounts, you have somebody that you haven't paid a premium on, in other words, they haven't included into your exposures, they get hurt, they can file against you,
Right.
it goes before the commission,
Right.
and the commission says, well, you were controlling their work. Yes, they were
Exactly.
volunteers, but you told them what to do,
Exactly.
where to go.
Yeah.
So you are de facto the employer,
Right.
and you own the injury.
And that's my concern right now, because our workman's comp, I guess we just got the bill the other day, is about $15,000 higher than what we
Right.
budgeted for.
Right.
And what was estimated to us by
Right.
insurance agents. So that's a big chunk.
It is. Particularly a small
Higher than what
town
we
like
thought,
this.
yeah.
Small town like this, and you gotta deal with the public.
Yep.
But I think if we focus in on that, this is the year that hurts you the most because of that 3-year
Yep.
thing there. And if we can get it down, keep it down as low as we can, and just keep driving it.
Yeah. I think this past year was a 0. I can't.
Yeah.
Can't think of a single claim we had.
Yeah. Right now, with this current policy year, it's 0. The 14 to 2015 is 0.
So
And then the year before that was 4,000, so that's why I was saying, it really is not bad.
yeah.
But then you had that bubble of the 2 years, the 11 to 2012 was 24,000, and then the 2012 to 2013, that was a 34,000. And that's so I made an asterisk there, but that's what it's like wrecking your car.
Yep. Yep.
You get that 3 years where that bubble comes through.
Yeah.
So. Could we have prevented it? I'm not sure.
Right.
But you got to be able to sleep at night.
Right,
That
right.
we did everything.
Right.
So that's a good question on the volunteers.
I have more, but he won't let me talk.
No, 'cause you're filming?
No, because he doesn't like me anymore.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, my question with regards to the insurance, obviously, is okay, so I understand that the town would have to have kind of like a blanket liability rider or something to cover volunteers, but wouldn't that be for like if the Boy Scouts were here picking up trash on the side of the road for Lebanon cleanup day? Wouldn't that be for people who are volunteering for the festival, Lebanon Festival Committee, or for people who were on the planning board? I mean, a blanket liability policy would cover any and all volunteers,
Right.
not just specifically people who want to go and clean up a cemetery somewhere, correct?
That I got to defer to the agent.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of in his.
But you're
his
right.
realm. You're
That's
on the
research.
way. I was saying, did you ever have a career in law?
My career is unspoken, but no, not legal.
Yeah, I have to defer that to the people who deal with that, the agent and the underwriters.
Mm-hmm.
I would be the one that would get involved with trying to keep people from getting hurt,
Okay.
on the prevention side.
Thank you.
I'm trying to put the claims handlers out of business.
Did you have any questions?
No,
Nothing.
no. I know Tony pretty well, so I'll probably just email him.
Yeah, we'll work with you.
Works for me.
Yeah, excellent.
Do you guys have any other comments or questions or anything?
Giving me my extras. Nobody. I can't just give you any more. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I came in later or you just started or what, but you mentioned some driver safety stuff.
Yeah, like defensive driving, if you're interested
Now,
in that.
is that a, hands-on or is that a lecture type of thing?
That would be lecture.
Okay.
You know, we don't have a
Because
car where we can drive you around.
We require, to take an ABOC course before you can drive.
There's that.
Before you're certified. That's all hands-on, that's all skill set.
That would be on the vehicles.
Yes, that we drive.
Right, so our defensive driving would be like a defensive driving like I get. You know, people around the road, that's a good thing you might wanna think about also.
Code enforcement, things like that.
Exactly, if you got folks on the road, just what you know, not, it's separate from the emergency side. Our defensive driving is specifically geared for that, and Randy Klatt would do that. He's our transportation guy, he specializes in the transportation side. Usually I think it's about 3-4 hours. It's not hands-on, but it's what you gotta do for the winter, you know, and all that's, adjusting your mirrors, all the basic stuff that we all have to relearn periodically.
It still wouldn't be a bad, I mean, if the selectmen decide they want to do a large-scale class, so we could invite people from fire, or fire EMS that
Sure.
wanted to sit on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also to support you on your training curve is that we do have a lot of online resources. All you need is your policy number. Anybody can tap into it, sign on as a user using the policy number, and everything we have, you have free access to, including the Business and Legal Reports website. So if the town were to subscribe to that, it'd be like almost $1,000 a year. You get free access to that. It's amazing what you can put in there. I was at, one of my accounts is Peace Development Authority. They said you can't add anything on airports. So we put airports into it, and we were just so overloaded with information, you have to sort through to see what you want. So there's a lot of resources that you don't know about, but I think it's probably the time to learn what we have, and you can really incorporate that into your training.
Okay.
Plus what I can help you with.
Yeah. I'm good. I
Is
appreciate
there a
you
way
coming.
of figuring this out in numbers?
Pick them up.
Say I took a class on better driving,
Yeah.
I'll call it. How would that affect the town as far as, you know, would I have possibly one less accident or something like that, or, you know?
Yeah, that's that whole question.
Something we can
My
hand to the
entire
pub-
career
something we
has
can give
struggled
to the
with
public.
answering with that question.
No.
Because I can remember like Danny, when we used to do the stretching exercise program with the Tanner for ergonomics, and then the question is, okay, we're shutting down the factory for 10 minutes every 2 hours, and time is money in manufacturing. And then the question is, well, if I do this exercise,
What's saving us?
yeah, what's
Liability.
the financial impact, because which is sort of the bottom line, and my answer to that is we never really could be sure, because at the same time there's a lot of other things going on. We were doing inspections of the facilities. We were doing a better job training the employees on their job. What was required. Did a better job with like pre-employment physicals. We did a better job of medical management. Again, Danny will attest that we didn't let anybody out of work. I mean, I would place the guy on a stretcher, answer phones, keep them at work, and that's how you go from the EMR 2.4 to 0.83 by sort of driving it down. And that was the hard part, which element, really made the difference, and we never could really, because there was other stuff going on at the time. Was it the stretching program? Was it the detailed accident investigation? Was it the accountability? Was it the you know what I mean? It was just part of the package. But as this restaurant I'm telling you about, one year they have $444,000 in losses. This year they have none. They formed a safety committee. They started saying, okay, we got new hires. How are we going to train them? What do they need to know? We got to make sure there's accountability. We do accident investigation. We get people returned to work. We keep them at work if we can. Sort of that. That's how they've done it. And so to say which element really made the, if I could find out which one, I'd bottle it and make it fortune.
Absolutely.
but it's if you approach it on a multidisciplinary sort of different directions, it gradually drives it down. And the answer in the short is, you never know what you prevent by by doing this stuff. You can only look back and say, I don't want to go back there. So this is what we're going to do to make sure it doesn't happen again. What I'm going to do also is I can set it up that I get notified of every claim that comes through, so that if a claim's filed, as soon as it goes through our system, I'll get notified of
That'd be
it,
good.
and I can take a look at it and then do some follow up on that.
You can focus on what we need
Yeah.
by doing that.
Yeah, and I think if we start doing that, and doing some follow up, word gets out, people are looking at it. As I said, it goes back to that people do what's inspected, and above all, sort of have fun doing it. I mean, I'm not looking to go in and beat anybody over the head or shame them. The whole idea is sort of educational and
Right.
just sort of support.
Yeah.
You got sometimes you have a lead man or a supervisor or department head. It's like, gosh, how do I deal with this? And that's kind of what we would help with.
I was gonna say, because I've dealt with big business myself, and you can't really come down to an actual dollar amount.
Yeah.
But it's very clear that education generally saves you a lot of money. As far as liability claims, things like that. Absolutely.
Yeah, a knowledgeable workforce, and
Yeah.
And there's another part that is difficult. Probably, I'm sure you run into like with unions, and every organization's different. Certainly, the town of Lebanon's a living, breathing thing. It's that whole issue of accountability. We made supervisors accountable for injuries in their department. Somebody was hurt. They had to do the accident investigation. They had to participate in that. If we needed to return somebody back to work, it used to be we would take the person that was on my duty, take them out of the department. My job was to find them work.
Yeah.
And we said, well, no, let's keep them in their department, make the departments sort of do the light duty, make the sacrifices, if you will, to keep it sort of going there. And we found that much more effective. Particularly with supervisors, because if somebody was hurt, it's like out of sight, out of mind. I don't have to deal with
Right.
it. But now I have somebody that's got limitations.
That's one of the gaps we had here was because your department heads might get the report from their worker or something like that, but that's where it kind of died.
Right.
Or maybe it was filed, but nobody else in here knew about it. Now it's being funneled up to Sue. And if we can tag you in on as soon as it's filed, you're alerted.
Right.
And that helps to keep her, in the loop and keep her accountable to we need to do the next step, because we all get busy with things.
Absolutely.
And so.
Right, and I'm sure you're working on the budget and time. Everybody has lives beyond this. So even
Small ones.
Not me.
you know what I mean. And I'm really looking forward to this. I really would like to, I really do. I really think this will make a big difference.
Yeah.
And it's nice. It's nice for me. I don't have to establish a relationship.
Right.
I already have a relationship with someone. That's huge.
Yep.
And
Yep.
we know each other, and he knows my weaknesses. And
So it kind of sounds like we need to get our department heads together, at least once a month.
well, you definitely need to. Here's what I would recommend: is that every time you have departmental meetings or group meetings, where everything begins with safety. Safety is first on. Everybody has business to get to, but you lead with safety, whatever it is, and that's what our resources are for. You can tap into it, find some safety subject, just sort of put it out there. I would probably consider the key element is your supervisors, the managers. They're key. They're kind of like the sergeants in the army. They make it work. And so part of that is sort of, we could do education, for example, like if you do accident investigation, we can teach them how to do a good accident investigation, which would be one of the elements in the book I gave you on an accident investigation involving the employees, your supervisor, your lead people. We could do leadership development training. That's a big thing, but we could take one of the elements on Unit 1 we could do some leadership training for the folks. We have a lot on, it's just a simple matter of sort of figuring out what we want to draw from.
Yep.
And I say, I'm necessarily the guy that'll provide whatever service it might be. We can find somebody in our company that will. And Danny knows I've done a lot of training over the years, and I just can't say I'm good at it. But
I won't tell you how many accents I have.
Right.
Danny was in a dispensary quite a few times.
So I got in this field.
No, that was good. I was what you playing in a rock band or a country western?
Yeah, that'd be a big
That's a great drummer.
drummer.
So, any other questions for me?
No, I do have a question. The one compensation claim for $30,000, was that one person or?
No, that was a total. In that,
Total?
it was for the year.
For how many people?
Good question. Hang on. Let's see. So that would be 12, 13. We'll go back. Let's see. I think I put an asterisk maybe. I have to do a trend analysis. That's why.
Okay.
So, hang on a second here. It's actually a big file. Sometimes there's only one on it. That's what it looks like.
Couple large ones. And then
Yeah.
little ones.
Hang on here. There was the largest claim for that year was for 29,000, and that was working in a multi-vehicle accident, overexertion, and that goes back to if you didn't have a fire department, maybe you didn't have that element, you wouldn't have any claims. So that's what it was. It was overexertion at a motor. It looks like a motor vehicle accident.
Okay,
Yeah. So 29 out of the 34. So most of it was that one.
that one accident.
Right. So basically, that's what happens when you have a small organization like this. One claim
Right,
drives it,
right,
blows it right
right,
out of the
right.
water, and that's what's essentially happened here. But it's what I've learned is it's when that happens, it's an opportunity to kind of pull it in and sort of drive it down, get it back down. Because there's a tail. If you sort of push on it, it's not apparent right off, but then you start noticing that the claims start dropping. And then that's going back to what I was saying about when I started the tannery, the experience mod rate was 2.4, which is 1 is average, and we got it down to 0.83, and that's how we did it, sort of driving down, sort of training, looking at things. We were doing inspections all the time. People got the employees to participate. We did some quality type stuff. That's the other side of it too. Is you might go another 5, 6, 7 years and not have a large claim like that.
Mhm.
That's sort of the unfortunate nature of the beast.
Yeah, you can go 1 year and have one that's 3 times as much, so.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Roll dice, yeah.
So this is great. This is
Just gotta ride the hump out right now with that 3 3 years.
yeah. And if we could sort of just drive it, down on the backside, because there's because what also on the other side too is that you ask, it's performance based, but if you do stuff, because I'm required to document. Usually about 2-3 months outside renewal, I'm doing a pretty detailed report so the underwriters can look at it. There's a comfort level in an underwriter. If the underwriter feels like, well, they're really,
Yep.
they're really working at it. The numbers are, if the underwriter's comfortable, it's,
Could benefit us.
yeah, it could. I
Yep.
mean, I'm not involved in that, but I've seen that.
Yep.
If they're not comfortable, they're not gonna, they dig in their heels.
Makes sense. Yep.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I'm good. Appreciate you coming in.
All right,
Thank
so, I have your email. Did you get my email? I kept getting it bounced back when I was trying to answer this email.
Maybe because I knew it was you. I can go out with you and I can give you the my card.
Okay, that'd be great. And then I'll coordinate 4 quarterly visits. I'm gonna redo the action plan. I'll submit it to you folks.
Yep.
And
You should give it
so-
to Sue. Do you have Sue's?
Okay, I'll send it to Sue.
She'll
That'll
be
be the
us
action plan. Okay, all right. I know you got business to do.
Do you have anything for me, or am I all set? Do you have any?
I'm all set with you.
Alright.
If you guys do.
Did you get my message? from my phone call that you sent me a couple days ago?
I don't think so.
No?
Well, did you message me on the,
I called you, but I don't know if it went through or not.
I was having trouble with my phone too, Dan.
Alright.
Nice meeting you folks.
Yes, you
We'll
too.
be back in touch.
Sounds good.